Hey, hello again. Hey, let's clean up this drawing a little bit. We have the battlefield maintenance building here, and I've cleaned it up a little bit. In other words, I've worked on layers. So this video is on layer management. Notice the colors that I've added to the layers, etc., to make it easier to read. So just let's take a minute and do that. This is where we left off after the last video with the drawing inserted in AutoCAD and the UCS symbol down here at 0, 0, 0. Should be right here. All right. But in order to read this, I'm going to clean it up a little bit. So use layers to do that and make it easier to see. So you can look up here on the Home tab and you will see the layers property box and the layers, all the layers that came in with this PDF are shown right here. Right? In any given layer, you can shut it off, you can freeze it, or you can lock it. Okay, freezing it just means you won't see it. It'll be locked in, and nobody can change it. So, and turning it off means you can't see it. So there we go. Let's change the colors on some layers. You do that by doing layer properties. I'm going to take all of these grids, these grid lines, and it's going to take a while because they are all exploded. In other words, they're individual entities. But if I wanted to turn the grid into a different color so it's easier to see, I would come up here and see what layer they're on. So let me do that. Let me click on the grid, this right here, come up here, and I'll see that they're on PDF base something. If I do the drop down, that should be highlighted. Here it is. So then I can come in here and click on the color box, and I'm going to make the grids red. Right, so now that layer is red, and I can check to see that the architect had all of those things on that layer. Yep, he did the work for us. And so I simply change the entire layer to red by doing the drop down under layer properties. You can't do it in this drop down. You have to do it down in here, and you can change it to any color you want. And I'm going to change the footing to yellow, but I need to know what layer it's on, so I'll come in here and I'll click on the footing, one of the lines, and then I'll drop it down, and the highlighted one, darkened one, will be the layer, and I'm going to change that to yellow. Okay, just so it's easier to read while I'm working and I can see things. So you can do as you please on that and change any colors that you want, but I find that it's helpful to add some colors to this black screen while you're working. It's just easier to keep track of which lines are which. Oftentimes I will pick the building line, the outside of the building itself, and I will, let me see if I can figure out what layer it's on. Pick, it's on this one, whatever that is, and let's take a peek. It's right here, foundation slab above grade. So I'm going to make that blue, and there we go. Those three changes make it much easier to work. See what I mean? All right. Second thing you can do with layers. Line weight is also determined by the layer. So if you come up here to layer properties and you bring up all the layers, you will see over here under line weight how heavy the lines show up. And the 0 layer is a 0.20. They're all in decimals of an inch. And default is a 0.10, which is fairly thin. And then you can set a line weight right here. There's line weight set to some of these layers, and how you turn them on is right down here on the bottom. Come down to the bottom and look for, come right in here and look for this where the lines are heavy and the lines are thin. And so let me escape that window. When you click on that, it turns on some line weights. As you can see, some of these layers of lines have weights to them, like this yellow one, and some of these ones, I don't know why. These can be applied by the layer, or they can be applied by typing it in individually up here on the thing. I just leave them shut off. If you're going to do some printing, you want to have the right line weight so it shows professionally. But that's it. So I'm just going to leave the line weights turned off and leave it like this for now. The other thing there is called line type scale. Notice the size of the dashes here and the line type. You can control that on layers. Several things you can do on layers. and one of them is line type. Right in through here, you'll see line type. If we scroll down, most of them are continuous, but you can take the whole layer and you can change it to a certain type. So for instance, if I go to the 0 layer, I can load different types of lines right here. You can see them all. There's millions of them, different things. All right. So especially if you're doing civil, you're going to want to do hot water line, gas line, fence line, etc. All through this by loading these line types and switching it over by layer. That's one way to do it. All of that stuff is done on layers, and I just wanted you to be aware of that. The last thing about this controlling layers and lines is, when you get out of here, what's called line type scale. If you notice that the yellow lines are dashed a certain length, right? And the other ones, the red ones, are center lines, which is long dash, short dash, long dash. That scale factor is determined by typing LTS, LTS, enter line type scale. And so your line type scale is currently a 1. If I change it to a 0.5, enter, and then I come up here and look at the drawing, I should have smaller dashes, okay? And so you can notice the size of these dashes now. It's a slightly different scale. So you can set your line type scale, you can set your line type colors, you can set your all your line type properties through this, mostly through the layer properties box and through the LTS command. I'm going to change it back to a 1, enter. And there you go. That should help you clean up the drawing and get it comfortable to work on. And I'll let it go. That's a 6-minute video. Over.